Hey everybody, this video once again brings us out to Phoenixville, Pennsylvania on this very cold and windy day. But I suppose the wind makes sense. It is March after all. And what do they say? In like a lion, out like a lamb, I think. So for the next month or so, it's probably gonna be very windy in my videos, but we're just gonna have to deal with it. So the reason why we're out here in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania is to once again check out the Morris Cemetery. I would show you guys the amazing wooden sign that used to sit right here welcoming you to the Morris Cemetery, but sadly it's no longer here. I don't know what happened to it. Maybe it blew down, maybe it fell down, maybe somebody took it down, maybe somebody stole it. I have no idea, but it was a really awesome sort of vintage looking hand-painted wooden sign that used to hang right here. There's actually a washer on the ground here, so maybe it fell down, maybe they took it down. I have no idea, but sadly the sign is no longer here. Thankfully, I actually documented that sign in photos and in videos last time I was out here. But this whole video today, this vlog today, is not about signs. Even though it was a really cool sign, that's not what this vlog is actually about. We're gonna take a look at something pretty awesome here in this cemetery. So a lot of people always say, my town has no history, nothing important ever happened in my town. And I always say, do your research. You never know what interesting history may have actually happened in your town. Who was born there? What interesting events may have happened there? Something probably interesting at one point in time happened in your town. Do your research. You might find out some pretty cool things. And Phoenixville, Pennsylvania definitely has some very cool history. A lot of interesting stuff happened here. A lot of interesting people were born here. I've actually already brought you out here before to take a look at two different graves. The actual writer of the Bare Necessities, the classic Disney Bare Necessities, is buried right over there. There's also a really awesome grave over there of a really cool statue of a local florist who was actually born here, or at least lived here and died here. Very awesome looking statue, a full size like human statue. Pretty awesome. Also kind of creepy looking, but it's really, really neat. And that's why I brought you guys out here before. But today, we're out here to take a look at something completely different than that. Well, we're out here to take a look at more graves, but of somebody completely different. So if you're familiar with Wild West history, I'm sure you may have possibly heard of Harry Longabough. Now, if that name doesn't sound familiar to you, I'm sure you've heard of his alias, his AKA, the Sundance Kid. Believe it or not, he was actually born right across the river in Mont Clare, Pennsylvania, and his family actually lived here in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. So yes, the Sundance Kid, the famous Wild West Outlaw, actually lived here for a while in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, until at a sort of young age. I think it was like 15, 20 years old. He decided to head out west and start his life of crime and doing some bad things with the Hole in the Wall gang and Butch Cassidy and stuff like that. I'm sure you've seen the movies, I'm sure you've seen documentaries, but this town right here is actually where the Sundance Kid used to live, where he was not necessarily born, but where he was raised, where he spent his childhood. Pretty awesome, pretty interesting. And his family actually resides out here. We're gonna take a look at two graves out here. If I can find them, they're around here somewhere. I haven't located them yet. We're gonna find them together. But his family, his mother and his father are buried out here, and there might actually be a third grave out here as well, which I'll talk to you guys about once we actually find these graves. They're over this way somewhere. I saw a photo of what the graves actually looked like, and they're somewhere over by this thing over here, I think. I'm trying to find these myself. We might be walking around the cemetery for a little while trying to find these graves. I saw a photo online of what they looked like. These are not them, but they're right around one of these sort of monuments right here. So we're gonna try to find these graves. I don't think they had a flag on them. These are not them either. See, now I'm just gonna spend the rest of this video walking around in circles, looking for these graves. Wait, I found them. They are actually this way. Here we go. So we're here to take a look at the grave. I'm getting all choked up, or I'm just getting very winded because it is so cold out here, and all the cold air is going into my lungs right now, making it very hard to talk and to breathe at this moment. But we're here to take a look at the graves of Josiah and Annie Longabough, the mother and father of the Sundance Kid, of Harry Longabough. Look at that. That is pretty interesting. You never know what interesting history resides in your town. And I actually just recently found out about this. I was not aware that the Sundance Kid actually lived his early life here in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. Left Phoenixville, Pennsylvania to head out west and start his life of crime. Apparently, his first major incident was stealing horses, and he was locked up and imprisoned in Sundance. And that's how he actually got his name, the Sundance Kid. He served his time for stealing horses out there. Right here are his parents' graves. Josiah and Annie Longabaugh. Josiah was born June 14th, 1822, died August 19th, 1893. And Annie was born July 27th, 1828, and died May 1897. Hopefully I said those dates correctly. It's very cold. My brain is not functioning right now. I cannot wait for the warm weather to get back here in Pennsylvania so I can do these videos without shivering and freezing to death. Although the fact that I'm wearing a light jacket, probably not the smartest idea. But anyway, very cool, very interesting. But what I also want to talk to you guys about is the possibility of a third grave. And I mean, yes, there technically is a third grave here. I'm not entirely sure who Emma is, some family member. I'm not, if you guys know, do your research, leave a comment down below. It's what I love about these videos is that I try to find information. I try to get some history for you guys for these videos. But then I also say, but do your research. You guys leave comments down below. If you know who Emma Longabaugh is, maybe that's his sister. I don't know idea. His aunt, his cousin, who knows? Leave a comment down below. I love getting you guys involved in these videos. I love when you guys do some research, when you guys look up stuff, when I get to read the comments back and I go, oh, that's what that is. That's who that is. Thankfully, one of you guys knew or looked up the information. I love getting you guys involved in these videos. But anyway, that's not the third grave I'm going to talk to you guys about. So X amount of years ago, there was actually a TV show and they shot a pilot for it. And the pilot was actually talking about Harry and about how he was born. And I think it was called like Town Trekkers or something like that. It was supposed to be this whole show. I don't know if it ever became a show or not, but they shot the pilot out here. Anyway, so the show was about towns and the history of your towns. Like I was just saying, you never know what history may have actually happened in your town. And that was the whole premise, which sounds like an amazing idea for a show. It was the whole premise of the show was to tell you, hey, this famous person was born here. This interesting event happened in your town. You didn't know about it, did you? But yes, this cool, interesting thing happened here. And they were talking about Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. And there's actually a lot of interesting, cool things that happened here. But what they were talking about, and arguably, possibly not the worst topic to talk about, because I mean, the Sundance Kid. I mean, that's a pretty important, famous person who lived in your town, who lived in your town during his childhood. But they came out here and they did some ground penetrating like radar work, and supposedly I don't know if it's like right around here somewhere, they found another unmarked grave. There's actually an unmarked grave right here. But what makes that so interesting is the fact that Harry Longabough, the Sundance Kid, his body was never technically found. They think they may have found his body. There was a shootout, but it was never confirmed if the actual robbers who were robbing this train, I think it was in maybe Brazil or something like that. It was down south. There was this train robbery that happened, and there was a shootout that happened, and they think that Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid were shot and they died, and they're pretty sure that was his body. They thought, okay, we shot him, we killed him, this is him, but it was never confirmed. They never fully actually identified his body, and they don't actually know if that was him who died. In fact, they actually thought they knew where his grave was. And again, X amount of years ago, they resumed his grave and they did some DNA testing and found out that's not actually the grave of the Sundance Kid. So they don't know what happened to him. We don't actually know where he was buried, when he technically died. They think they know where he was buried. They think they know when he died. They think they know like that history of his later life, but they don't actually know, which means that it could possibly be the case that the Sundance Kid is actually buried right here. That is definitely a possibility, which is kind of crazy because apparently even when he was on the run, there's sirens going off in the background. Anyway, so apparently even when he was on the run, back when he committed all his crimes and he was part of the Hole in the Wall gang and he was doing his stuff with Butch Cass, blah, 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 so called. When he was doing his crimes with Butch Cassidy and he was on the run from the Pinkertons and whatnot. Here, there's sirens going off. There's a hospital right down the road. But anyway, when he was doing his with all those crimes, and he was actually on the run, he would apparently come back here to Phoenixville, Pennsylvania to visit his family, which is kind of crazy because, I mean, people were after him. He was a wanted man. He had a bounty on his head, and for him to be traveling back to Pennsylvania, back to his family, nevertheless, kind of a ballsy move on his part to be doing that. But supposedly, he actually did come back here. There was like a diary from his family, and in the diary, it did say that, like, yes, he did come back, he did visit. So it is possible that when he possibly decided, okay, I'm giving up my, if he didn't die, if he did not die in a shootout and he lived to be an older man, it is a possibility that he decided, I'm going to give up the life of crime. I'm done with this. And he came back to his family and they buried him here. Or they found his body wherever he was and they buried him here. So it's a possibility that the Sundance Kid's actually buried right here. Pretty crazy to think. They don't know yet. Apparently they haven't dug his grave up. They haven't done any DNA testing. It would result in unburying the grave. What's the word I'm looking for? It would involve digging up his grave and doing some DNA testing. Maybe one day they'll actually do that. We'll find out. The Sundance Kid's actually buried here in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. That'd be really interesting. But I wanted to show you the grave of his mother and father, Josiah and Annie Longabaugh, the father and mother of Harry Longabough, aka the Sundance Kid, who lived here in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania as a child, and then left here to head out west and pursue his life of crime. Pretty crazy, but he might actually still be here in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. We don't know yet. Hopefully they'll resume. That's not the word. It's not resume, is it? They'll dig him up, and they'll find out one day. I would love to find out if the person buried here is actually the Sundance Kid or not. Anyway, guys, I'm going to let you go now. Pretty awesome, pretty interesting history. Like I said, always do your research. You never know who may have lived in your town, who may be buried in your town, what interesting events may have happened in your town. This is a really interesting piece of history here from Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. But all right, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to try to think of that word. It's not resume. What is that word? It's going to hit me as soon as I'm done this video. Leave a comment down below. What word am I trying to think of? Anyway, all right, so I'll let you guys go. So as always, thank you all so much for checking out this video. Be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, check down below for links to Patreon, Spreadshirt. If you do become a patron, I will send you a postcard every single month from the road. Also check down below for, like I said, links. Oh my God, it's so cold. Also check down below for a link to Spreadshirt, where you can grab yourself retro Rest Stop t-shirts, proceeds both from Spreadshirt and from Patreon. You can help supporting the show, keeping the show going. So I really, really do appreciate the help, guys. All right, so like I said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you do hit that subscribe button or you are subscribed, then I will see you in tomorrow's video. Again, the mother and father of Harry Longabough, aka the Sundance Kid. Pretty awesome. All right, I'll see you guys next video. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.